Welcome everyone to another observability clinic. What's new in Dynatrace 273? We switched from a monthly update to a release-based update, but with me again, as always, Berkan. Hi Berkan, how are you doing?
Hi Andy, all good. It's good to see you again.
Good to
Another
see.
session, another release, another session.
Exactly, yeah. We'll do this now release by release because these videos will also be part of the release notes. So let's move on, Berkan. What have we prepared for people?
Okay. Next slide.
So the kind of format is the same, right? We will quickly cover the playground environment that we have for you. Then the majority will be the product updates from Berkan, really bringing the release notes to life. And then in the end, some community and resources. Next slide, please. So folks, we have introduced the Dynatrace Playground tenant a couple of weeks ago. The Dynatrace Playground tenant is the tenant that everyone has access to that has a Dynatrace SaaS account. That is, if you are a Dynatrace existing customer, a partner, or even if you are a Dynatrace trial user. If you don't yet have a trial, you can just go to the link on the top left and you can sign up for your own trial. Once you are signed up, you can go to the Discovery Playground tenant. And there's also some more stuff that I've put out there on GitHub, some of my getting started guides. And I know, Berkan, I think you're also now using more and more the Playground tenant with some of the demos that you're showing, right? All right. With this, that's it from my side. Berkan, over to you. Let's see what's new in the product.
Thank you for the introduction, Andy. Let's get it started. Okay, so in this session, we are going to talk about the 273 version, and we will be covering the new features and enhancements, as you can see in the screenshot. Of course, there are also lots of updates around different components, but the main focus on this session will be the cluster features we have, the environment features we have, so we can say. And the first one that you might remember from one of our previous sessions that we announced the end of support for custom charts, but the security support will continue until we complete the migration to data explorer charts, just for information. And on the log monitoring side, we added some use cases that show you how you can create log metrics from your log data. This is just one example. You can see as a screenshot. We will also have a short demo in our platform. Briefly, that you will understand step by step how you can create a DQL query, how you can use that query to create a log metric. And you can also use that log metric for several use cases. For example, creating anomaly detection events, creating that data explorer analysis, and so on. So basically, we will cover this also in the example of our demo environment. Here is one screenshot from a log metric, which helps us to understand the product quantity of a card service. And the problem example that I think that can explain the situation clearly, that you don't need to run your log queries that, regularly. For your important queries, that you just can create a metric from that, and you can create a metric event together with Davis AI correlation. So which means that you can have a much more smarter analysis and get benefit of the topology, that relationship in Dynatrace. So you can just fetch that exact data from your logs to create more meaningful analysis in Dynatrace.
Yeah, I think this is truly powerful because it allows, I know many of our users, they have systems that create a lot of logs, where also there may be some business data in the logs. And with the two things you just showed, we allow our users to say, this is an important log message. It, for instance, indicates that a certain product was sold. And then not only do we get a metric, but we can also use this metric and then use the anomaly detection, meaning we can automatically apply baselines. We can automatically have Dynatrace Davis alert us in case a behavior has changed based on information we're extracting from logs. And I think this is truly, truly empowering and truly great. And thanks for showing us this here.
You're welcome, definitely. And you can even create some automated workflows to report your self-databases, hourly basis, to understand that how exactly your environment behaviors. We have changed the default time of the pod backup events. So here's an example of problem. You can see if you are not familiar with backup events in Dynatrace. Now, basically, we changed the timeout for these events from 1 hour to 50 minutes. It will help us to detect the potential issues in a shorter time periods and response anomalies in the pod behavior. There's an important improvement we have on the Kubernetes side. We added topology assignment process for Kube-stat metrics, which comes from Prometheus integration. This is important because previously we were focusing on the dimension values that's rather than focusing on the reference Prometheus exporter pod rather than dimension values, but now it will be that much more correlated with your entities itself. So this way, you can think about like from a separate metrics, a complete part of your whole environment relationship, and Kube-stat metrics will be one of them, as you can see from the example, together with other entities correlated to. If you would like to get more details and need more explanation, there's a great community post from Matthew or from our product manager, shows you that how exactly we cover this corner case in container environments.
And for everybody to understand, if Berkan shows any links, the slides are shared on Dynatrace University. But if you're watching this, for instance, on YouTube or as an embedded video, the links that he's listening here will also add it to the description of the video, so it will be easier for you to find these links and follow them.
Mm-hmm. And okay, now the next one is around the platform updates. But before that, let's jump on our playground environments to show you those exact feature updates for better explanation. Here you can see it, the release note documentation. I think you see this video from this documentation or from YouTube, but just quickly to show you what other updates we have, all of other components for manage one agent activate, you can find directly here. But the part that we are focusing here is these updates. So this is just a quick reminder. I mentioned the log metrics in the first slides. So how you can access this page, this configuration, from your settings application on the left, or directly from your application list, which you can search by using Ctrl-K and type settings here. Okay, let's try it. No words. Okay, this is the application. You just need to click on if you are really not familiar with Dynatrace, and from this menu you will see several menu items. The log monitoring is the part that are related to this feature update, and the metric extraction. You just need to click on it. Once you click on it, you will see a log metric button, and we will click on this button. Here, you just need to define the metric key, the measure, the exact log query that you would like to get, and you can find an example from the documentation shared in the release note as well. It's also available in slide note, and then that's good to go that you can create and you can save these changes. You can even define the metric measurement, by the way, directly from here based on the attribute value or based on the occurrence of this log records. Once you have this log metrics, now it's available as a separate metric. You can, one of these benefits that we mentioned here, you can use these log metric as anomaly detection metric events. To reach anomaly detection metric event from the same settings application, you just need to go to this section, anomaly detection, and under this part, you will see the metric events. The metric events are the ones that you can use to cover your corner cases. So most of the cases that we automatically detect and provide you the relationship, the correlation, the root cause detection, of course, but there are some cases that we can also extend our capabilities based on your use cases by using metric events. And in this example, the log metric is the one that helps us to cover a corner case. And from that log metric, we can create a metric event by selecting the metric selector here, typing the log as a prefix here, and you will see, in this case, log select API hands-on metrics availability. Once you have that metric, you can analyze this in Data Explorer. You can define your own monitoring strategy conditions. And in this case, you can see the auto-adaptive thresholds and seasonal baseline are the ones that you can differentiate your analysis in a more meaningful way. So after you having set in this and even other conditions, which I will not go through, of course, in the detail, you will be able to alert it automatically by this anomalous behavior of this metric. The last one in the infra side, as I mentioned, the Kube-stat metrics, in this case, Kube-pod status ready. There is no value here that the value actually you can see here, but the powerful part that I want to show you how we correlate all the other entities and for this metric, and you can use this relationship for several different analysis. For example, problem anomaly behaviors, your problem analysis, that will be really important for you to understand if these metric changes are correlated to other events. It's just a one good example that how you see that we detect now with this version the other topology relationship with this metric. Okay, let's go back to our presentation and jump on the platform features. So as you see here, we have included the append command in our DQL queries. This is just one example where we combine two different results from two different separate queries. And this example shows you the top process group according to its garbage collection time with a time series resulted based on the log errors, log records. So it's a little bit small, I believe, but of course we can explore this in detail in the playground environment. And if you have an account, of course, you can also access yourself. This notebook should be shared publicly. I have made my test with my personal email, but in case you still need the help with permissions, please let us know with a video comment or reach out to us via chat. Basically, you can explore many of these new features in this environment ready as a notebook and in this presentation, of course. The next one we have is the lookup function. This command, this lookup command, now it's available as a function. And with this function, you can add your results into an edit field instead of the root table. So this will be the result, which we are going to analyze a bit further, of course, by clicking on the view button with this result. I will show you now, and it will make sense, I promise. But now that you can see this, we have the simple records. And by using this function, we have added any additional records to that specific field. And if you would like to understand that how exactly it's done, you can also access this directly from the playground environments. Another function is the range function. It helps us to align the value, the timestamp value, range based on the provided parameter. So in this example, it summarizes block entries, as you see, based on their statuses within a specific time range, time periods. And you can see the results. We will do, I think, last 1 day, and which will end up with two different data records from two different one-day analysis. And you will see 8 different records, actually, that as we have 4 statuses. But briefly, that it will help you to get your log error categories within a specific time frame. And again, we will have this example in our playground environments. We introduced the nested fields in lookup commands. And here's, this is one example you see here. This nested fields can only come from inside of a record, not from array itself. And this operation, we, one second, I think using this service entities, I expect the service entities here, but I see different events from business events. Okay, I'm just trying to understand this in a better way. If I'm missing something here. No, I think, okay, it's another example that I had 2 different examples, but this one comes from business events. And in this business events, we have this lookup command and we added these nested fields. With this prefix, you can see this data comes from the logs. And with this prefix, we have added 2 different fields as nested fields. So this is just example that we will also see in our environments. I'm just wondering if we will have the business events or we will have a different event that I think based on the service instance details. But we will see it in those sort of environments together. So right now only God knows that what we have in that example. So let's see.
I think the lookup is a really great thing because it allows you really, it's like, if you think about it in SQL terms, right? It's like a joining of two tables, and that's basically what you do here. You're kind of joining two results together, and you can basically say when you join and you're extracting data from your, let's say, reference data set, then now with the prefix even, I really like this, I didn't know that this exists. You can prefix the fields, the result fields, so you know they actually come from the joined table, so to speak. Yeah,
definitely.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
So we have some improvements of high garbage collection events merging. Now, as of this version, the high GC activity problems will merge directly with CPU usage problems without additional host evidence. Before this version, we needed some evidence. We need to find some evidence like metric change behavior or a different availability events. But now you just need to have these two events to combine in a problem example, which you can see as a screenshot on the slides. We also improved our memory resource exhausted correlation events correlation together with high GC activity problems. Now, instead of waiting only 3 minutes, instead of this time period, we increased the event analysis period up to 50 minutes. In this screenshot, we have just two different events example from a host entity. I put this for the ones that are not familiar with these events directly, but we will also see it, of course, in our demo environment as a short demo. And for you just to know, good to know that if you have some use cases that ended up, let's say, false problem analysis, I think it's a good update for you to know. Now we increase the time periods for this. Davis problems and events now support the manually closed mute states. In this example, actually the events, the Davis problem and events in Grail, it's very powerful that for you to understand how we use problem detection in Dynatrace, there are lots of parameters, fields, data that you can use to understand that how your anomaly detection that operates in Dynatrace environments. So this manual closed mute state is one of them. One of the improvements you can use apply filtering to understand what type of problems that you closed recently. In this case, I closed one problem, and you can see that problem manually closed by user. This is very, I think, again, maybe small, but I will show you also from the environment with another problem example. So briefly, we are improving the events details on Grail and in Dynatrace, which I think will be really beneficial for our users in the future. And I think it's already started. So please just test these fetch events, these analyze events in Grail. I think you will see the value directly in there. Another update on the Davis problems, we have now reopened status. This is just a basic query, as I mentioned that in the first one, that we have, again, the same data, the same records, but now the problem statuses, in this case, event status transition is the parameter. We can fetch, we can understand which ones reopened recently. So again, you might have some problems that recently closed or recently muted by another user, and you maybe are just wondering what exactly the reason that you don't see the problem in there, or your team didn't notify. So this is a great way for you to narrow down your analysis to understand the behaviors of your problem for a specific time frame. So this example is available in the demo environment. I will also show you in a couple of minutes that exactly what we have in that notebook. Okay, I think all good for the platform section. Let's close this one and jump onto the platforms. So this notebook is prepared for this specifically for this version, and the updates that I mentioned to you in the slide here, you can see all these titles and the queries and the results directly. The appended command available here, as I mentioned, that we are combining two different results from GC time for process group and log errors. I will not go into details, as I mentioned already, but here is the result that you can see how we correlate two different error that data in the specific in one query. And the next one is the lookup function. As I mentioned, that now we have this results as a is under this table, not as a root table, not as a, in the root table exactly. And once you click on these complex records, we can see also the result that we defined here. I'm just wondering, Andy, do you know the reason why we had this complex report definition here, not showing the result directly in there? Because in logs and events application, we can see the result directly.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because you can really have very complex records with many even nested objects, and therefore the standard table representation might not be sufficient for every object that comes back. Therefore, from my perspective, it makes a lot of sense that for complex records, for nested objects, we just give you that option, and then you can drill deeper. Makes a lot of sense for me.
Okay, makes sense. In case you are wondering that how you can see this exact results, there is an option you can open this query with logs and events application directly, and it will show the results. So it's as expected. Let's say, not of course expected, but as you can see also from the documentation. I will not click on this, not to lose all the data available here, but you can go directly with that from the playground environments. Another DKL function, the range function, as I mentioned to you. So it summarizes the log entries based on their statuses for 1 hour, for the last, for 1 day, sorry, and with the 1 day timestamp. So it's from 1st of September, 2nd of September, 2nd of September to 3rd of September in this case, today. And these are 8 different records that you can see. It's also that, that this time range, the definitions by this function. The nested fields, okay, I use these events, the same example I used here. You see that we have this prefix definition again. The lookup field and source field are available together with this prefix, actually. And in this example, it shows us the how we show you this entity events, the data, in this case, the host, together with events from the business events table, and with other data from the logs table, and how we combine them in one result. So this is basically a good example also that shows you how we use lookup commands in with nested fields. The reopen problem state that I mentioned to you. So in this query, we used this event status transition as a filtering and at reopen as value. But again, you can see all these different values, different possibilities in events table and as records. So please always try to narrow down your analysis when you have any that unexpected problem behavior in your environment, or when you need to have deeper analysis of your problems in databases, create specific that's again regular reports or so on. So basically, this is the place where you can use where you can analyze your problem behavior. In this case, we just see the reopened problems in here, and this is just one example you see in this notebook. Okay.
It's really great that you put everything together here in a single notebook that is shared, so people can easily follow the steps. For DQL in general, we also just launched a new YouTube playlist with videos that explain the individual comments of DQL, and there will also be new DQL by use cases, because sometimes explaining DQL and the comments is great, but it's sometimes, or most often, easier to understand if you do an end-to-end use case. And so just for you to know, we will have a new YouTube playlist with new videos that's called Learning DQL by Use Case. So that's also going to be good.
Yep. And the presentation is much better than this session, guys. So please also check the DQL session in detail. I really also like this session. Okay, so let's close this one, or jump on the presentation first, and then we will come back again. So on application observability, I think we have only one update. We introduced this strict span filtering option, where you can only analyze the logs related to your span IDs of a waterfall node. And you can find this example in our playground environment. This is just a trace analysis page where the function is available. It's on the top right of this page. You will see it. So before going with the next slides, I will just jump on one more time. Let's see here, I think. Okay. So if I close this one, I think I missed one thing, but that's fine. Let's jump first this part. So it's a trace analysis, as you see here. If I choose one of them, I think this should give us a good example. So these traces are available as an application, as always, and you can, again, search this application as traces and see distributed traces directly in there. Once you have a specific trace you would like to analyze, you can go to your trace analysis section. And from this section, if you click one of these traces, on the right side, you will see the logs. In this example, we have 5 different log records, but with this strict span filter feature, you can only analyze the logs related to those spans of a waterfall node. So this is basically, we introduced it in this with this version.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And as last one that I mentioned to you, this garbage collection events and memory exhausted events. So you can see how exactly that if you have a problem that you expect, but you can see Dynatrace, you can also understand this analysis from your process page. And these are just basic examples that you see events that we for garbage collection time. So, and also on the right side, you can see those events to understand the behavior in a better way. So it's just, I just want to show you one example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that's all for this release. So as always, please share your feedbacks in our Dynatrace chats, in our community. Use Dynatrace chats almost for everything, even for your personal use. But for Dynatrace related cases, you can always get help in a couple of minutes and get benefit of this, of course, this feature, this functionality. And also the webinars are available in university, in YouTube, mostly presented by Andy. And you will also get a session. So that's all from my side. Hope it was helpful for you. Thank you very much, Andy, for your comments.
Yeah, thank you, Berkan. Thank you so much. This was everything for 273. We will be back with 274 in a little bit. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.